Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the WE Knives Collinear or Collinear. I'm actually not sure how to say that word or if it's a common word. Or most of the time when I say this is a common word, and everybody's always really surprised that I've never heard of it before. So if that's the case, great. Here's the word, and you guys can say it however you feel like is the right way to say it. This is a really interesting looking knife, and I thought for sure that this was like a GTC collab, but I guess not. I guess this is like an in-house design. Unless I'm mistaken, but I believe that is actually the case. It is a cool knife, and I actually specifically asked for this from WE Knives, and they said yes, for sure. When I unboxed it, the price that it showed for retail was substantially higher than what maybe not substantially, but it was higher than what I actually found out. So it's not priced quite as high, the base price. Anyway, because this is a more expensive variation of it, but the base price of this is not quite as high as I thought. We'll talk about that. I'll have this linked. All the different variations will be linked down in the description. You guys can check it out if you want to. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. If it sounded like I was laboring through that a bit, it's because, excuse me, I just ate extremely spicy hummus, and it is now coming back to bite me, but we're going to power through this review anyway. The overall length of this knife is coming in at 8, I'm going to call that 8 1/4. Blade length is coming in at 3.75, and your cutting edge, it's like 3.85 if you measure down here. Cutting edge about 3.65. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom sales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against my own Excalibur, very close to the size of my full-size Excalibur, definitely bigger than the smaller one. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Again, very similar to the top one here. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Group Tilliner, in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action on this guy? Well, the pivot action is really good. Access to the lock bar, it doesn't have a cutout here, but honestly, I can get in there pretty easily. It does come down, and the edge contacts your fingernail. Like, that's what's going to stop it if you do this method of like using your finger to stop it. So don't turn it sideways, because that edge is going to touch your finger. I really wish that they had something else here to allow me to stop on an unsharpened portion of the knife. But that is about as close as I can get, and it's still the corner there behind the plunge grind. So that's a little irritating. Also, this flipper tab is very low profile, and it's cool. You need to flip it and like move your finger backwards. Because if you do a standard light switch and come down, your fingers just slams into this corner. This sounds like I'm being a baby and making a big deal out of this, but the first time you flip this, you're gonna go, what the heck? This whole area should have been carved out. We should have carved this area out and made that softer so that we weren't doing that. You really need to like pull it and almost pull your finger back that way. It's not a pleasant feeling, and push buttoning it will literally just result in this, which doesn't work. So this is a cool idea, but the corner of this, like they're trying to match the whole frame. I think you could have kept this angular design and just made like a diagonal cut right here so that we weren't slamming into the frame. Like we're really slamming into this corner here. And honestly, it's not a harsh, like an aggressively sharp area, but it's not a comfortable area to slam into, right? And I catch it almost every single time. So it's a little bit weird. The detent's good, and the pivot action is also very good. I just got it with my left hand as well. But yeah, like everything else is fine. It's just a weird area right there off the flipper tab, and that's meant to be low profile, and honestly would be perfectly convenient if that area, this zone right here, wasn't there. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3, it is actually ever so slightly. It's almost exactly the same. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Pretty easy object to carry. The pocket clip area is very interesting. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But yeah, not a difficult object to carry. It is full titanium, and there is also milling on the inside for weight reduction. I just realized, I mean, it's so hard to see the blade steel on these WE knives. But yeah, it is an M390 blade. That's kind of what I thought. So titanium and M390 milling for weight reduction, and your weight here is probably somewhere around 4, perhaps a little over 5. I'm wrong. Really? It's 3.7? What? What the heck? Hold on here. Let's weigh the Ontario. Yeah, okay. All right. That's weird. It certainly doesn't feel like it's only 3.7. I mean, this full titanium knife and the Spyderco Para 3 are half an ounce in difference. All right, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's got a really good blade to weight ratio there, so that's neat. The hardware check, let's get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. We have a T8 pivot, and then we have this situation going on back here. What's going on? Well, it has what I'm going to refer to as a butt cap. Is that T6? Yeah. So we have 2 T6 screws, and one of them holds the pocket clip onto the butt cap and also screws the butt cap into the frame. So I think this is a screw that's doing 2 jobs here. Yeah, there we go. And this other one, let's pull it off there. This other one holds the rest of the butt cap on. And it's kind of weird. Why do they do that? Well, it allows them to keep the frame together because this is not an integral. It actually does have a seam. You can see it there. But it kind of gives it that look because there's no backspacer. And it also, you know, gives it that look because there's no visible hardware on either side of the knife, which is kind of neat. Now, what's a little odd, I always have to remember, and you should remember too, that there's a bit of blade sticking out there at the back, right? So you need to be cognizant of that. Did I catch it? No. So it's kind of cool. You might be thinking like, well, so that's how you reverse the pocket clip, right? Well, let's take it out and flip it over. Nope. Like, that's not going to hold it on. And also, like, the holes don't line up anymore. So they should have made it so that, I mean, because the pocket clip is symmetrical, they should have figured out a way to make this, like, part of the, you know, how the pocket clip reverses. But they didn't. It's just, it's a right-handed only clip, and it's to hide the hardware. And it's kind of a cool feature, you know. You could say that it's totally useless, or you could say that it's kind of interesting. If you really like the no hardware look, what sort of black magic is holding me, or is keeping me away from it? There we go. Maybe we just need to screw this one in first. To a lot of people, this is a completely pointless feature, and to some people, this is really interesting, and it creates an aesthetic that is very pleasing. And I think that both of those arguments are valid. This screw here is being a little bit fickle and not wanting to go in, and I don't want to strip it because it is T6. So, but this is threaded into the titanium, and so we're just gonna power through it. It doesn't feel, yeah. So I don't know what's going on here, but it doesn't like all of a sudden the threads. So we're going to pull this back out and we're going to take a look, and it might be that this is just ever so slightly not lined up exactly right. Okay. So instead of doing this one first, and I know that this is a weird part of the review and it seems like it's taking too long, but I think that this is valid because it might be something that you could potentially run into with this knife, right? So we need to really make sure that this is lined up correctly. And I just realized that the frame wants to spread out when you do this. See what's happening here? So that could actually be why it doesn't want to. There are 2 little pegs that keep these together, but it could be why that screw there didn't want to play ball. So let's try this again, and we will do the pocket clip screw first. I don't want to mess this up because this will ultimately end up as a giveaway prize on my live stream, as many of these knives do because they are sent to me for free. So anyways, both of the screws are exactly the same, by the way. So we're going to go here, and now we're going to gently without forcing it like I tried to do last time, we are running into that same spot. And this is why I hate T6 screws so much. Because both the bit and people are, that's why you gotta buy a high quality, you gotta buy a high quality bit because of, I've done WERA, and a number of other brands. And guess what? T6 blows across the board. Okay, obviously there's better and worse, quality when it comes to bits. Sometimes the problem is the bit, and sometimes the problem is the screw. And this is really just not wanting to work with me. I wonder what the problem is, and I don't want to put too much torque on anything here. Yeah, this just does not want to go in any further. I mean, that's just it. Like now this pocket clip just wants to slide up and down. And I've tried now to adjust, and even at this point, I want to take this off and see if I can just like screw it in without the pocket clip, because it is really fighting something on the inside there. And just for poops and giggles, Cal, I'll do the other one, right? But this is all perfectly lined up. I don't know what would be causing that to be an issue, unless the threads are slightly different, which they shouldn't be. So I guess we're just gonna try. All right, here we go. Just hold everything together and make sure that it's all down and everything's being friendly. Was I wrong? Okay. This screw is very happy to go in. So I'm wrong. And hey, but this is the kind of thing, it absolutely is why it's important to do this stuff, right? So that way, when anybody who decides to buy this knife doesn't run into the same issue. There is apparently a slight difference between these two screws, and one of them likes the threads on the other side a little bit better. So, okay, that's weird. I wonder why they would do that. Why would there be two different threads, right? A mistake is making these screws T6. In fact, a mistake is making any screw on any pocket knife T6. A mistake is making any screw on anything that holds anything to anything T6 or smaller. I hate them. I also hate T6 bits. They suck. Anyways, that's kind of a weird thing, but now you know those are apparently different, and so don't mix them up. It's weird though, they look exactly the same. Okay, so anyways, that's how that works. Ergonomically, it is a handle. It is not really specifically, it doesn't, like you hold on to this and you're like, this doesn't really feel like it was made for the human hand. Also, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from running your finger up on that edge. And, it's like we're overanalyzing, we're forcing this into the role of utility, which it certainly can be used as an everyday carry pocket knife, and for the most part, I think it'll be fine. And it honestly has a really good utilitarian blade shape. But it is also definitely designed to be, designy. It's not necessarily every single element here. In fact, many elements are not leaning in favor of utility and more so leaning towards design. It's very designy. It's nice looking. I find it a little odd that it's like the runway just ends here, and I understand because there's a chamfering line, but that area right there bugs me a little bit. I do like the two little lines here. Looks good. That's pretty much it. Outside of like the interesting like butt cap thing, there's not a whole lot going on. We have a lightning anno collar over here. I do like the fuller running down the middle of the blade. That's nice. It looks very futuristic, right? Very like a Master Chief knife. M390 still being hardened to 59 to 61, unless you're getting one of the black ones, which is even lower. It's like 58 to 60, which is awful. WE Knives needs to bump it to 60 to 62, like almost literally the rest of the industry at this point has bumped it up. So that's still a bummer. I do like the finish on this blade. I think that it looks really, really nice. This is a hand rub satin finish. So this is a variation that's going to cost a little bit more. The edge is nicely sharpened, and it's somewhat thick behind the edge because of where that blade stock thickness, where it is at its thickest, which, I don't think we actually even ever measured it. So we'll go ahead and do that. It does almost lay down perfectly flat, by the way, but the edge doesn't actually start to contact the material until about right here, the material that it's resting on top of. So I'll do my best to grab it like right near the middle. 117, 116 thousandths or so. Absolutely nothing on the other side, which is a huge miss. They really should have done something like this on the other side. I think that'd be great. They didn't do that. In and out of the pocket, it's pretty good. Very simple, symmetrical clip that's fully milled. I kind of like the seam construction. I kind of think it's neat. In one sense, it's probably cheaper to not do the backspacer and just do a seam. On the other hand, maybe it's not. It is certainly more expensive to machine this very specific little butt cap thing, which you can just barely tell is there. Like, I mean, as far as the seam. Your stop pin, I caught my finger again there. Your stop pin is actually a garage stop pin, so it slips back there behind the frame and stops the blade in the open position, and then also in the closed position, it's got another little garage zone right there, so that's kind of neat. Runs on bearings, obviously no blade play up, down, left to right, no lock stick, no pivot lash, and very, very smooth and consistent in here. A nice click into the closed position, and as far as I can tell, it's centered, but kind of sneaky because you can't see the tip. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's centered if you can't see the tip. Base price on this knife, $335. That's less than what I saw. Probably because the retail price that I was seeing was specific to the knife that I received. So I don't think that there was any deception there and any screw up there. I think it's just, I always forget that there might be less expensive versions than the ones that they send me. This version costs a lot more, but we really just judge the base price. Is $335 fair for this? It feels a little high. There's a lot more going on here than what we typically see for the $200 area, like the mid 200s. But it's not really bringing enough to the table where I can, like, you know, say, okay, it deserves to be well into the 300s. There are a lot of companies that make knives that kind of dip into the 300s that make a lot more sense. They use, you know, blade materials that are a little more exotic. They do finishes that are a little more interesting. They do more texturing, more contouring, more inlay work, stuff like that. The butt cap thing here is kind of neat. I don't know if it really justifies that price tag. Truthfully, I think this would have felt a lot more realistic at about $299. So it's 35 or so over, in my opinion, where it should be. That's not catastrophic. That is hardly, you know, like versus a lot of WE's other stuff. I think that a lot of their other knives have been substantially more offensive. Truthfully, the price tag is not the most offensive thing on this knife. The most offensive thing on this knife is the fact that they couldn't figure out how to make the knife carryable for or optimized for lefty carry, and ultimately that flipper tab, your finger just slams into that corner and it's just not comfortable. So not WE's worst price knife. It does look very good, right? And it's made very, very well. Tolerances are good. It just, I think, falls short of being something that I would want to carry, and mostly because of that flipper tab, because that is the only means of deployment. Don't switch the screws up. They are apparently different. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.